Welcome everybody to today's webinar. If you're here to learn about cyber risks and maybe how you can prevent it from happening to you or what to be on the lookout for, you're in the right place. We have a wonderful speaker, Chelsea, joining us today to just give us all these insights. So bring your questions. We're going to get them answered here in just a bit. I'm excited for today's webinar. We also want to go over just a couple housekeeping things. So first, today, if you have questions, if you have comments, please drop them into the chat. Most of the time, your chat is located on the bottom of your screen, typically either in the middle or on the right-hand side. And let's kick it off by letting us know which cybersecurity concern keeps you up at night the most. So drop in A, B, C, or if you're a combination of these, let us know in the chat. It'll just kind of help us know where you're at and maybe what to speak on a little more. And then I do want to let you know that these webinars are free and available to the public, and that would not be possible without our supporters and our sponsors. And so this week, our featured sponsor is Visit Nebraska, the state's official tourism organization dedicated to showcasing everything that makes Nebraska the good life, from charming small towns and unique attractions to outdoor adventures, local restaurants, and unforgettable events. Visit Nebraska inspires travelers to explore every corner of the state, whether you're planning your next weekend getaway or looking to support Nebraska communities. Be sure to visit visitnebraska.com and discover your next adventure right here at the home state of Nebraska. And also, if you're looking to get your business on Visit Nebraska, please let me know. I'd be happy to provide you with that resource. And we want to thank them again for helping us celebrate the businesses and communities that make Nebraska such a great place to live, work, and also visit. I also want to thank Ashley with Iron Horse Land Company, who is our featured member this month. And so, Ashley, I'm going to let you say a few words.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that. I'm Ashley Pittman. I'm a realtor with Iron Horse Land Company. I'm a residential and land specialist with a really big draw to acreages and helping people with livestock, whether that's selling or purchasing. Either way, I love to help out. I'm based out of Stewart, Nebraska. I serve North Central, which is basically about Loop City and then north to the South Dakota border. And I will say our company does serve the surrounding Midwest states. So you have something Kansas, Colorado, North, South Dakota, I can get you to an agent that would love to help out. We are honored to help with land sales or purchases. You can see my information there on the screen. I'm available at 308-216-0068. You can shoot me a text, give me a ring. I'd love to help out.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley, so much. Appreciate you being on today and for your continued support with Grow Nebraska.
Thanks for having me.
And speaking of Grow Nebraska, if you guys have not heard about Grow Nebraska, I'd love to have a conversation to see if it's something we can assist you or your business ventures with. So whether you're marketing support, you're looking for a digital footprint, looking to connect or network with resources in our great state, or even some tailored coaching, let us know. If we're not a great fit, we can put you in contact with other resources in Nebraska. And then without further ado, Chelsea, I want to let you take the stage and we'll get right into cybersecurity. So let me stop sharing.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to meet with each of you today. And as stated, we are going to talk about small businesses and the most popular common attacks that small businesses face. And so don't want to hold anyone up. So let's get straight to it. And I am going to quickly introduce myself. So, welcome to my Small Business and Cyber Awareness course. My name is Chelsea Pierre. I am the president of Pierre's Tech Heads. I have over 10 years of cyber and network security experience. prior Air Force, and got out in 2013. And I will say from 2013 to 2026, the landscape for cyber attacks has significantly grown. And so when I got out, I did a lot of government contracting support for different agencies. After I did that for a while, I decided to step down and open a company, which is Pierre's Tech Is. So overall, Pierre's Tech is a computer and electronic repair company, but we do so much more. We host webinars, we do corporate and nonprofit team training, we do consultation if you have any questions with your network, if you have any worries about any cyber threats, attacks, vulnerabilities, you can always see us. We are in Omaha, Nebraska. We have a location downtown Omaha as well as on Offutt Air Force Base in AFES. So why are we having this course today? Well, believe it or not, I have experienced a lot of small business owners come to me with different attacks, right? From spyware to ransomware to identity theft, and from they can have a company that's within a couple of months old to 4 years old. They're very aware of the possibility of these attacks, and somehow something happens and they become a victim of a malware attack. So I thought it was best to create this course. It's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. Definitely love interactions. So we have a chat, as Cami said, and if you have experienced if you or anyone you know personally have experienced any of these attacks, definitely put in a chat. I would love to hear your stories, because one thing about the business owners and entrepreneurs, we are very proud. We get embarrassed when things go wrong. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people who have been a victim of these attacks and feel like they're alone. So if you experience anything, if you know someone who's experienced any of these attacks, please put it in the chat. Tell us what happened. Let us know if you have any questions. Definitely put it in the chat as well. Again, I've been a couple of years in the game in the IT field. So if I say any technical jargon that you don't understand, please let me know. I will slow it down. I will explain. We're not going to go too technical in this course, but I definitely want to make it informative as possible to get you thinking, to maybe have you reevaluate how your small business is being ran, the network, the environment, who you hire, and all the above. So again, the agenda is going to be simple. Like I said, it's going to be informative. And what we're going to do is explain one of the main attacks. And so we're going to talk about social engineering. It still is one of the largest attacks. We're going to talk about Wi-Fi vulnerabilities, Bluetooth vulnerabilities, definitely cloud vulnerabilities, as a lot of people are putting their company information within cloud. And as always, insider threat. That has always been a thing, from the government to small businesses to large businesses to corporate business as well. So why does it matter now? And it matters now. And I bring up that question because I know some of you may say, hey, the bank sends me, cyber threat awareness emails, different organizations sends me memos, change a password, make sure that you're not using the same password multiple times, check your network, make sure that ports are closed. So I know a few of you have heard of all of these warnings of different ways to practice and to become a good steward of your company to where you are not as vulnerable. So I get it's 2026. So some of you are saying, why does it matter now? Ms. Pierre, why are you showing this course now? Well, believe it or not, even in 2006, 43% of small businesses are targeted and getting attacked by cyber vulnerabilities. And so it could be a many of factors, from, like I said, compromised credentials, unpatched software. When you're an entrepreneur, when you're owning a business, when you have employees, when you are dealing with supply chains, you don't necessarily have the time to check the boxes and make sure that, hey, is this port open? Is this port closed? When was the last time I did change a password? Who exactly did I hire? You know, I can't afford a background check on certain people. I just have to go with my gut instinct, right? I'm using AI. Can AI be trusted? Is there any cyber threats in that area? Some of us have to use AI because we don't have the time to um, do certain procedures as quickly as possible without AI. So why does it matter? It matters because as we are building our business, as we are trying to make partnerships, as we are trying to win contracts, or we are trying to work with other businesses to grow ours and to share resources, and resources be shared to us, the percentage of attacks of small businesses are growing. And it is on purpose because a lot of cyber attackers or bad actors, as what we call it, are specifically targeting small businesses because they realize that we are very vulnerable. And we're very vulnerable. And at this stage, we do not have time to check everything. Now, one of the main attacks that's still growing with small businesses is social engineering. You're saying, Miss Pierre, what is social engineering? Well, social engineering is uh, it's a way, and I don't want to give the I don't want to give the technical jargon of it. However, it is a way of someone trying to deceive you, right? There are different forms of social engineering. We have phishing, where someone is sending a fake email, which is very popular for small businesses. We have texting. You receive a text message, you're not sure who it is, and you are trying to figure out who's texting you with a loan offer. And it is a form of deception to get you to trust that person so they can take information and at some point get access to whatever they're trying to get access to. Maybe it's your POS system, maybe it is your clientele, maybe it is your credit cards, right? But it is definitely a gateway that a lot of bad actors use to gain trust from you through deception. And so
Chelsea, we
there's
actually
a
had a couple examples come through too, and I thought maybe this would be a great time to kind of share.
oh yeah.
Um, we had someone share that an email they thought was from their bank and credit card company to update their information, and then the next day the credit card had charges from other states, and so that was definitely an example of exactly what you were talking about. Another person wrote in and said, their employee got kind of scammed. It was AI. They used her voice to say, I need you to do these certain things. And next thing you know, that employee's like, interesting, okay, and sent thousands of dollars to someone that they couldn't get back. And so I thought this was a great time to share kind of what to be on the lookout for.
Oh, definitely. And one thing, and I'm sorry you experienced that. And it is scary because who do you trust, right? We just opened a company. We want support. We're looking for assistance. We are out here, networking. We're meeting different people. We are trying to grow our company. So when someone offers support, how can we trust them, right? I mean, it is very hard to determine, are you a bad actor or are you actually trying to help? So some of the cues are urgency that they use, like hurry up and do this now, and they use fear tactics. If you don't hurry up and do this, then this will crash. If you don't hurry up and do this, you will receive a late payment penalty. There's some type of greed behind it, saying hurry up, do this right now, and it will accomplish this, and it will seem helpful. but it is the state of urgency. Quickly do it to where they try to psychologically manipulate you into quickly giving them what they are asking for, so that you will not receive whatever um, bad penalty or negative action that they are alluding to. And it's funny that you that one of the people mentioned the employee, because though typically bad actors reach out to the employees if you have some. But and as an overview, kind of explained it already, but it is a tactics that rely on human manipulation um, to bypass security, exploit trust, use urgency and authority status. And so, kind of like what I said, there's phishing with the emails, pretexting with the text messages, baiting, tailgating, all of this stuff. But as you mentioned, it ends up in a revenue loss. They're trying to gain something from you. And a few of the preventive actions is one, especially with the employees, let's train them. Hey, here are our checks and balances. If someone reaches out to you saying this payment is due, we've been trying to reach out to your employer, we cannot reach you, we need this now. And even though your employee may mention to it, here's checks and balances, say, hey, any of these calls, send them directly to me. I will take care of that. Appreciate your support. Send them to me, right? You could create a report and culture like, hey, we received this email. I'm not sure who it came from. Looking at the email address, it seems like a one letter is missing. Let's kind of research who this is. And as always, we want multi-factor authentication, right? You know, because if you have an employee and and I get it, we're building a business, we're a small business, we have an employees, we're gonna find this main employee that is a star, right? And we want him to kind of be like an assistant, we want him to be a lead. So we're gonna give him access to certain databases, but there should be some that is specifically only an area where you touch, and then you could put a multi-factor authentication factor on it to where, hey, you can access this database, but when you get to a different area, it will require a pin from my phone. And so if you try to get to it, anything like that, I would notice a code that comes to my phone, and I would say, hey, why are you trying to access this area? So there are different verification steps, because social engineering is a big thing, especially at this stage in the small business aspect. And so it's a case study where it happened, an employee, similar to what you said, it's a case study where an employee actually was manipulated by a social engineer situation. And basically, it's actually like your story. The employer received a call saying, hey, this needs to be paid. And he got on the call, said, hey, I'm aware, and gave the bad actor the account numbers, everything, just to get it paid in order to help the business owner and able to help the entrepreneur, the manager. And what happened was the bad actor stole money. Not only did it compromise their POS system, but it stole money as well. And so this one in particular is not only did it steal money, but it bounced checks. It's a lot that happened with it. And I put the reference at the bottom so you can see that these are real cases. But it's we have to train our employees. If we have employees, we have to have multi-factor authentication if we are by ourselves, right? So that if there is some type of intrusion, a bad actor cannot get far. So the next one is Wi-Fi vulnerability. And so still to this day, I think it's important And me with the background as being a networker, I can understand to a common person how Wi-Fi is just forgotten. You would call your internet provider, internet service provider, and say, hey, set up Wi-Fi in my company, set up Wi-Fi here. You know, you need Wi-Fi. You won't think anything of it. You will believe that your internet service provider is doing what they're supposed to do. They are creating the security measures that needs to be done. And you won't look past it, right? You log to your Wi-Fi, you will continue on with your day. However, that's not always the case. So there are Wi-Fi vulnerabilities. And one of the main ones is called a man in the middle. Basically, what somebody can do is if you have a public Wi-Fi, basically your Wi-Fi is public because of whatever you choose to do, and you just decide to have a guest access. So if they come, they can log into your guest Wi-Fi and do whatever they need to do, right? So what man in the middle does is they will get on their Wi-Fi, they will have a device. And so when they have a device, they will go through the Wi-Fi, create a channel via laptop, right? They'll create a script and will see all of the traffic that's passing on that open Wi-Fi. They will see websites that's trying to be accessed. There are scripts where they can see usernames and passwords if it's not protected. And then they can run and check to see what IP addresses are being used. So they can see your traffic. From seeing your traffic, they can create other scripts, and they can create an access to where you think that you are using your personal Wi-Fi, but you're actually, as you're connected to your Wi-Fi, that bad actor is seeing everything that is passing. And so they have that. They have either twin to where you think you're logging into your Wi-Fi account, but actually you're logging into the bad actor's Wi-Fi account. And it is, and I don't want to get too technical about it, but there are a lot of different Wi-Fi attacks. So what I tell small businesses is, hey, you know, we love to be convenient to our customers. You come in, hey, you have access to the Wi-Fi. What I would do, I would separate Wi-Fi channels. I would have a particular Wi-Fi channel for my operations, Wi-Fi channel specifically for my lobby, Wi-Fi channel specifically for the guests, right? I would segregate them as much as possible. And I would tell my internet service provider to do that as well. I would also ask them questions like, hey, I understand you are installing this router, but what cyber protection, cyber intrusion protection or network intrusion protection does this router have? Within the settings, what can I do to isolate my network from certain attacks, right? And so your internet service providers should be able to not only give you those answers, but help you create those security measures because Wi-Fi vulnerabilities is still a thing. A lot of black hackers or bad hackers, they start with using a Wi-Fi vulnerability attack. So that's some of the easy ones that they use. They can buy a device, and that's typically where they start off their bad hacking experience with that one. So again, router credentials, keep it hidden as well. Not sure if anyone noticed that when you log into your router, you're looking for which one is your Wi-Fi, but then at the bottom you see some that says hidden. And for my operations, the ones that I use often for my POS system and my backdoor system, I will keep it hidden to where I am the only one that can see the credential and not the outside people. So there are definitely pros and cons. VPNs, I'm not going to go too deep about it. However, I will say this. As far as a VPN is concerned, a VPN is a tunnel that hides and encrypts, but hides the traffic or what you're trying to do, but your internet service provider, and I just want to put it out there, they can see the Wi-Fi, and just like a bad actor, they can see the traffic before it hits the VPN, and they can see the traffic coming out. So there are pros and cons to it. I'm not going to go in depth about it because there are some good VPNs and there are some very poor established VPNs where you think that you are protected and hidden, but you're not. So to get off of that, I kind of stayed on that one for a while because again, Wi-Fi attack is one of the easier scripts to create and one of the main attacks that beginner hackers do. So definitely wanted to add focus to it. Nonetheless, we do have a case, similar to what I was saying, the evil twin attack case. And so basically what the hacker did was create an access point within the same area of the coffee shop. And he created a fake network. So he created a fake network that the signal was stronger than the coffee shop stronger. And so people tried to access that strong network and he left it open. Of course, no password or anything. So people were accessing that stronger signal on his network. And because it was open, he was able to see everything of what he was trying to access through his fake access point or router. So definitely some scary stuff. When I do trainings, I definitely do the Wi-Fi, especially when I talk to college students, because I guess going to coffee shops is the new going to the mall. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. Another thing that used to be a popular attack, but then was not as popular over the years. We figured out how to secure it, but now that we're doing Internet of Things, IoT, it's starting to become popular again. And so it's Bluetooth vulnerabilities. So it's not as common and it's not as bad as it used to be. However, there are still attacks. So if you do have a company that uses scanners, that connects your POS system via Bluetooth or anything via Bluetooth, right? There's a possibility of being vulnerable to an attack. And so as we are starting to become more innovative and hey, I want to connect everything to my Bluetooth. I want to connect my security system via Bluetooth. I want to lock my doors of my building via Bluetooth and all of this stuff via Bluetooth. I think it's important to kind of discuss what some of these vulnerabilities are, right? And so there are different types, and I don't want to bore you with giving you the definition for all of them. However, what is Bluetooth? It's basically it's a radio wave, right? And so sending radio waves to perform the action that you want that Bluetooth to do, or actually make that connection. And so one of the main vulnerabilities is bluejacking. And so what it does is you have a device and it sends an unauthorized text message to your Bluetooth enabled device. And so it looks harmless. You see it. I know you can let me know if you tried to connect to Bluetooth and you saw multiple devices and you're like, hey, I'm not trying to connect to this person's TV or that person's cell phone. I'm trying to connect to these headphones in my hand. Like, how do you pick up everything else, right? But that's what Bluejacket does. It sends a message saying, connect here. You see me, connect here as well. And that's one attack. You could connect to the wrong Bluetooth using that attack. We also have Blue Snorfin, which similar to the same thing. Basically, what all of them does is different methods, but it creates a pathway of you connecting to the wrong device. And once you connect to the wrong device, then you're hooked up to whatever system or a network device I have. And so anything that's running on your scanner anything that's running on your security system, your POS system, I have access to. And so the best things to do is definitely make sure that you update the firmware. And because we started updating firmware, it's not as these attacks are not as popular today. However, again, they still do exist. But I would say one of the best preventative measures is to disable your Bluetooth. If you're not using it, press that button, disable it. You don't want, any bad actor trying to connect to your Bluetooth, right? And so that is one of the best devices that I would give. But do understand the more Bluetooth instruments that you're using in your company, the more secure that you need to be with it. And so if anybody has questions about their Bluetooth capability devices, then definitely reach out to me and I would go into more depth about it. Definitely would go more technical about it, but I kind of want to give a brief overview of it. And so here's a case study as well. So a retail store scanner got hacked, right? It was early, like say 2021. And so it was a retail store, and what happened was the terminals that they were using to take payments, that's actually what got hacked. And so the Bluetooth chip was at the register was not working. And so what the attacker did was they weren't there. And they used let me see, because I actually changed the last example to this one because this one's more up to date with some of the Bluetooth tools that we use. So kind of want to make sure, kind of want to read it. I just changed it today. But basically what the bad actor did and installed a fake payment card reader on the checkout terminals. And so it looked similar. It looked alike. And actually another one that was recent that I know for a fact was the gas stations. It was, what was that gas station called? I forgot what was it, Wawa's. I'm not sure if you know what a Wawa is. So it was in Wawa's. What happened was some smart person went to one of the Wawa gas stations and they put a cover, a Bluetooth cover on the card reader. So, or actually, they either put it on top of it, or put it behind it. So when you scanned your card, it actually sent your card information to their system, and they were able to see your card number, your expiration date, your name, all of that stuff. And it was very popular in what was it? It was still early 2000s. And I mean, it was one of the big hacks for gas stations. But that is also one example that I remember off the top of my head. The next one that I want to talk about and spend a little bit of time on it, but it's cloud security. And I'm gonna try my best not to get too technical about this, but I think it's very important, especially how small companies at some point within their life, they're going to want to upload all of their data, their information to the cloud, right? And so cloud security, if it's not, when you set up your cloud, if you do not set it up correctly, it is wide open for security breach, vulnerability and attacks, right? And so what I have, and I'm gonna take a time to kind of explain, there are different ways that you can create your cloud. And you could do public cloud, you could do private cloud, you could do hybrid cloud, And here are the different, when you get to a certain point, you are going to have to decide if you want, how do you want to establish your cloud? And so there are different risks for each, but you're either going to have, within these risks, what I want you to understand is, are you going to are you going to have an IT team to prevent these breaches and these security vulnerabilities, or are you going to rely on the security uh, implementation to be on your cloud provider? And that is why I showed this overview. Because if your cloud is not set up correctly, if your cloud is not configured correctly, if you are not doing a proper patch management, if you put the wrong, gave access to the wrong person, if you do not have some type of preventative system of where only, it basically is called permissions management, of only users have access to this area of cloud. Your higher engineers have this access of this area of cloud, right? Then you are vulnerable for different risks. And so in uh, cloud attacks, especially when you are housing the cloud on your own, is very popular with small businesses, because some people just at a certain point of your company, you just do not have the resources to go to Amazon or to go to a Google and request their cloud services, right? It's expensive. So if you do decide to do it in-house, then just realize that you have to keep up with the security measures. You just have to, because one patch that didn't get implemented, one small vulnerability, and a person can definitely come in and uh, infiltrate your cloud. I um, so I wanted to kind of stay on that one for a little bit, because again, at some point, every company goes to the cloud, and you have to make the decision on where the responsibility of the security of the cloud, where's it going to rest, right? Where's the configuration? Who's going to do it? Who's going to manage it? And who is going to, if there is some type of breach, who's going to be responsible for that breach? So and here's another case study. There was a small insurance agency that did a data leak, right? Long story short, what this agency didn't do, they were trying to migrate a new email platform. And so the multi-factor authentication was disabled. And so what happened was, the agency, while they were trying to implement the new email platform, the old website was still online. And so what the attacker did was go through the old website and compromise an employee's email account. And so from there, he was able to pass the firewalls. He was able to pass the cybersecurity policies. He was able to get through it, and now he received access to the email cloud. And we all know what's in the email cloud. We have invoices. We have employee information. We have customer information. We probably have PII in the cloud. We have folders. And so that bad actor was able to get in and get access and get all of that information. And so it took a lot of time, because once an intruder is inside of your cloud, unless you have someone constantly monitoring the configuration in the cloud and the access control and the elevation of permissions and all this stuff, unless someone's actually monitoring it, you don't know who's in it or not. So I feel like that's definitely important. Insider threat. It's, I know you probably hear it a lot. Um, we hear it a lot. We see it on TV, we see it on movies, but and you feel like, hey, may never happen to me. I do a very good, have a very good hiring process. There's certain things and personality traits, and I use these type of hiring procedures that's taught, etc. Right? Background checks, all of that good stuff. Like, hey, this may never happen. However, it is a difference between someone, the most popular insider threat attack happens when that person who is very happy to be hired is not so happy when you let them go, right? And so insider threat could be anyone. It could be an employee, it could be a contractor, it could be a partner with access. You could partner with another company and probably a supply chain company or something similar to that, to where you share the same access to uh, get production done. But at the end of the day, you have to have certain measures to, if someone decides to go rogue and you don't know about it, how can you prevent it, right? So definitely, if you have to let somebody unfortunately go, you have to have an offboarding process, which step one should be cutting all access to their computers, user accounts, all of that stuff. Let's cut the access first. And so there should also be consistent monitoring. Like if you give an employee or if you give a contract access to a type of site, a program, or a database, what are they doing? Are they trying to escalate their privileges? What are they actually doing in there? Are they taking screenshots of certain things? Are they in a file that they shouldn't be? Are you monitoring your file usage? Um, but there are preventative actions that you can use as far as monitoring actions that I would say that you should have implemented within your company. And this is a another case, and this one it's kind of similar to what we talked about. However, this employee was let go, but what he did was he decided that he wanted to open a competing company after he was let go. So what they did not do was they let him go and they did not cut his access. And so what he did was he all the databases he had access to, he gathered all the information, retained it, sent it to himself, and deleted all of the financial reports, basically sabotaged his last job. And it took a while for that company to regroup from that because he left. He got the information, deleted all of the records so that they could crumble, so that his new company that he was trying to build up could be a strong competitor, and left. Once they leave, really can't find them. I mean, I guess you could, but they're gone. So you definitely have to have onboarding, onboard. Well, the same way you have onboarding procedures, you have to have offboarding procedures. You have to have security measures for contracts, partnerships, all of that stuff. And so I know I was speaking a lot and probably repeating the same information in probably 3 different ways, but each area is very important, right? And it happens more often than what you know. And to think, hey, this would never happen to me, and then one day it does, and you don't have the proper preventative measures already implemented in your company, is definitely it's hard to recover from. Again, a lot of these bad actors, yes, they're going on, they're attacking these Fortune 500 companies. Yes, they're attacking these state departments and city departments, but majority of them are focusing on these small businesses. They really are, because we're in our first month, within our first year. We want support. We want partnerships. We want the exposure. So we are open to networking. We would take the calls. People ask, hey, what do you do for your company? And we're excited to talk about it. And like, oh, okay, what sales are you trying to reach? What sales are you reaching? What POS system do you have? How do you have it set up? Do you have a multi-factor authentication? And so, uh, you're excited to answer these questions, but a lot of these questions are probing questions, right? Kind of similar to the, hey, what's your mother's maiden name? What's your last for your social security number? But at the end of the day, um, we're excited, but we have to be mindful. We need to know, who are we talking to? Who are we talking to? What information are we giving out? I could ask, like, hey, do you have any employees? Okay, when did you hire? How many are you trying to have? Okay, well, that's awesome. That's incredible. What hours are you open? Okay, do you have security system? I can lie. I'm trying to get a security system. Who do you use? Where are your security cameras? And we're excited. So we're going to give that information. But the more we give, the more exposed that we are. So I kind of want to start right there. And so again, I'm not trying to have anyone fear what I'm saying, but definitely prepare, because these things happen all the time. And once you are hit, it is very hard to recover from. So with that being said, I don't know, do we have any questions? Do we have any stories?
Yeah, this is great. I've got both. I've got a couple questions and I got
Okay.
one story.
Sure.
We
Yeah.
had someone who shared that they process a lot of corn, and one of the
Mm.
things is they got this big order for a truckload, and everything seemed legit. They looked into it, and it was down to the building. And I mean, it was like the day before they said they were getting ready to ship it out, and they realized, wait, this building has been unoccupied. Like they called and like they were so happy that they just kind of cross-checked everything. So um I think you said it best where it's not about the fear, it's about the preparation, and just do your due diligence. If something is sending you a red flag, investigate, because I think in today's world, no one's going to question you asking them more questions before you give out information. So I think this is really great, Chelsea. Um, so a couple questions that did come in was with the two-factor authentication, this person uses a passkey. Does that work as a two-factor authentication?
It does. That is especially with Google. That so what happened was Microsoft, Duo. There were these apps to where, like, these multi-factor authentication apps, to where if you scan the QR code every time you access it, it will give you a pin, and you type the pin in to get to whatever website and things that you're trying to do. Well, um, it stopped. I mean, it was popular, it's effective, but it's an app, right? You lose your phone, something happens, you lose the app, you can't really get back to it. So there were its cons. So with the passkey, they're trying to, hey, we're gonna give you a key and you store it somewhere to where you can better reach it. And so that is a two-factor authentication. So what happens is you log into a system that's a multi-factor, two-way multi-factor authentication. So you log into the system, you put in username, who are you, password, what do you know, then your the passcode, what do you, it wouldn't be what, I think it'll still be what do you know. So it's still two-way. But you're supposed to store that key somewhere safe. And you should store it safe. You shouldn't lose it. If you do, I have not met anyone who lost it to know what the procedure is. If you do, if you cannot find it, but it gives you the ability to store it somewhere else versus the Duo app or the Microsoft app, which I still like. I still like them, but I don't change my phone every 2 or 3 years like some people do. So I still have that app, along with Pokemon Go and all of these old early 2000 apps on the phone. But it is a multi-factor authentication. Just make sure that wherever you put that key, if it auto-populates, be mindful with who's using your system that has it saved for it to auto-populate. But definitely put it somewhere safe. But yes, that would be one.
Awesome. And then what do you recommend for storing files, photos, and other documents? This person's currently using cloud storage, but they've run out of space. So suggestions on best long-term solution.
Oh, so let me tell you about the running out of space. Let me these servers, and I'm not gonna name, you can think of any company, but the servers that they use will barely run out of space. However, that is just a sales tactic, basically for them to get paid. So I can give you a list. What I could do is send you, if you reach out to me, I could send you a list of secure um, storages that give more space for a better deal than what you're using. But at some point, that's these companies' way of making money. So, and that's just what it is. The only way that you can get past that is if you create or build or have somebody build your a private cloud. You saw they had the public, private, all that stuff. So if someone builds it for you and it is yours, it's not housed nowhere else that would charge you for space. You can add more. I'm gonna use the word room to it. Try not to get too technical, but and you could do that. So that would be the only way to prevent these companies from making money by saying, "Hey, you run out of space," because they got space.
Yep. So if you are intrigued by the list of secure storage options, hit Chelsea up. We did have a couple people want to know if they would get the slide decks and the slideshow from today. Yes, I will be including that along with the recording. And so look for an email in the next few days with all of that so that you can rewatch the segments that maybe you weren't able to take notes on quick enough, or just to go back and digest so you can apply it to your business or share with others. Great questions for those. I don't see any other questions, so I'll give people a couple more minutes. I will put Chelsea's contact information also in the follow-up email for all of those who registered. And so while we're waiting on that, I am just going to share quickly. We do have a couple more upcoming trainings. If you'd like to take advantage, we have a 4-week dive into QuickBooks for Business, and so that is online. There is like a $25 fee for that. But if you're interested in diving into QuickBooks in a way that this person really breaks it down into, you don't have to be an accountant to understand what she's saying. It's a great course. So if you want to know more, I highly encourage you to sign up and take this 4-week dive once a week for 4 weeks, or once a day for 4 weeks. And then if you're in Nebraska, we highly encourage you to save your seat on August 26th. We're going to have Amazon coming in person to Grand Island to unlock success in Amazon stores. So they're actually going to bring in insights from local businesses, so people that you can relate to who have had success on Amazon, and you can ask them questions in a panel setting about maybe some of their trials, tribulations, and how they found success. And so that's exciting. They're flying in from Seattle for this 2-hour session. And so if you're interested, please save your seat and get registered for both of those. And so with that, we're just getting, thank you, Chelsea, for all the great information. And so again, thanks everyone for joining us live. We look forward to seeing you on future trainings with us. And if you have suggestions, look for that follow-up email. There will be a link to let us know what else you want us to bring in for trainings. And so thanks again to our sponsors and for Ashley for being a featured member as well with Iron Horse. And we look forward to seeing everyone next time.